Insiders, we need to discuss Meghan Markle's front cover for Harper's Bazaar Australia. It was bizarre, and I'm here to tell you why it is fake news and why, yet again, the mainstream media are failing to produce proper journalism. Because you will notice if you read the piece and the highlights, they didn't challenge Meghan on anything at all. And so let's go back a few steps. This interview would have been months and months in the making. Meghan would have known every single question that was going to be asked. And it is a puff piece, it is an advert for Meghan. She would have approved everything within the piece. I believe she would have had copy approval, picture approval, approval of the outfits. With magazine covers like this, there are no mistakes. There's nothing included that she wouldn't want. And so you may think, well, what about the piece where it it spoke about her being a duchess and there being only two people in the room? I think Meghan's ego would very much have liked this piece, so she would have kept it in. Everything you have seen relating to this was approved, in my professional opinion. And that includes all of the tweets, all of the social media viral clicky bits that have gone out. Because on the shoot, the team will often sit down with management or the PR or the cover star and ask them to batch approve things, or they will be sent later on in the week after the shoot. So, this is why I think it's particularly ludicrous that this cover has been deemed as media. You look at the press that's run beforehand, the kind of press that we would want magazines to ask her about. Harry and Meghan repeat accusations of racism against royal family. Now, obviously, these are historic pieces, but a good journalist would have done their research. In the next three episodes of a documentary series released on Netflix, the prince and his wife speak of an unconscious bias in the Windsor family against the American woman. Next one, charity chaos. Meghan Markle never liked charity boss at centre of Harry bullying row, and crisis started with her, insiders claim. And then we've got the next one. We've got Duchess of Sussex loses 10th publicist. Emily Robinson, who previously worked on The Crown for Netflix, leaves post after just 4 months. It was actually less than 4 months. And then we have AOL. Meghan Markle's mock curtsy in docuseries deemed disrespectful by critics. The very fact this interview was a complete puff piece means that it is propaganda. And so, insiders, I have the very definition of propaganda for you. Let's have a look. Hang on, bear with me. Propaganda is biased or misleading information used to promote a specific political or ideological viewpoint. It is designed to influence public opinion and persuade people to adopt a certain belief or take a particular action, often by using emotional appeals rather than rational arguments. Well, I would very much argue that this piece is propaganda because a good journalist, whilst, it may have been awkward to pose certain questions to your cover star, they would have posed these questions. So the very journalists that interviewed Meghan or, developed this editorial concept, they are propaganda puppets. And so you cannot take anything they say seriously because this piece was written before it even took place. That is how it works. They would not ask the questions that you, the public, have an absolute right to hear the answers on. And so influences and persuades. Propaganda is a deliberate communication strategy to convince people about an idea, cause, or product. Yeah, can be biased. Oh, I'll say. It often presents a one sided view or selectively shares facts and may include half truths or outright lies. Oh, Meghan. This one's aimed at you. Uses emotional appeals. It frequently relies on loaded language to evoke an emotional response instead of a rational one. Tick. Aims to serve an agenda. Tick, 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 tick. The ultimate purpose is to further the interests of the group or government spreading the information. So, yes, this piece was absolutely propaganda. And you will often sit at home when pieces like this come out and you'll think, why didn't they ask her about this, this, this? And this is why the mainstream media is completely disingenuous. It is not fit for purpose. How can you do an interview with a cover star and not ask any of the questions that everyone wants to know? And it has no place in 2025 anymore because this is how out of touch that this media outlet are. They haven't listened to what their readers actually want, and they have ignored people on the ground who are buying their magazine. And so you then get presented with an editorial slash advertorial. Advertorials are usually paid for, but this is just so fake. And you think, hang on, what about all of this? And so remember, the very person that is on the cover of this magazine is someone that has their comments off, is someone that has gone through 10 PR staff, is someone who constantly deflects when the truth is put to them and it's always someone else's fault. And this magazine, they are so out of touch. I'm going to show you two shocking ways in which they have behaved relating to Princess Diana and Catherine, Princess of Wales. But before I do that, I want to, hang on, sorry guys, I want to show you this, okay? This is a piece on the Daily Mail. Blushing Meghan throws a coy look at 10 out of 10 comments at Harper's bizarre shoot. Okay, first of all, she's approved these videos going out. She knew there was an on-set videographer, which there always is for monthly magazine shoots. This is performative. I'm going to read you this article, but first of all, I wanted to exclusively share with you that I have Nikki Johnston, a former Britain's Next Top Model, judge, and a world renowned photographer for monthly magazines, coming onto the channel this week. I spoke to him yesterday and he has some exclusive insights to tell you. And make no mistake, there are no accidents when it comes to Meghan borrowing certain images from Princess Diana. And I'm always mindful that we can, everyone will own a black suit potentially. And so we can't pull up an image of Meghan Markle in a black suit and Princess Diana in a black suit. There are only a limited amount of clothes and looks, for example. But when it's something like a monthly magazine cover, these looks are decided months and months in advance. There are trying on sessions beforehand. The stylist will meet with the cover star. There are so many emails and meetings that go into something like this. It is not simply just turning up, doing the shoot, and leaving. You'll notice as well, Meghan did part of the interview at the Beverly Hills Hotel. That hotel is where you go if you want to be seen. She wanted to be seen at the Beverly Hills Hotel doing this interview. In fact, they sat at a table where she could be seen throughout all sides of the restaurant. Again, there are no mistakes. All of this is creating a certain image in Meghan's mind. Deluded. So let me read this piece to you. And remember, all of these images where she didn't really know there was a videographer. She did. A blushing Meghan threw a coy look as she was congratulated for being a 10 out of 10 in the behind the scenes footage from her Harper's Bazaar photo shoot, which came out this week. In intimate scenes filmed and posted on the Duchess of Sussex's Instagram account, Meghan is seen appearing overwhelmed by praise while sitting barefoot on the ground mid shoot. Dressed in a white shirt and black trousers, Meghan, 44, blushes and covers her face with her hand before a male staff member tells her she was 10 out of 10. The Duchess then glances coyly in his direction before laughing and looking away. In other unseen footage, that was approved, she is seen joyfully hugging Harper's Bazaar editor-in-chief Samira Nasser. The Canadian is the first Black woman to hold the position at Harper's Bazaar and was previously the executive fashion editor at Vanity Fair. Miss Nazar reposted the behind the scenes footage on her own Instagram account, captioning it, "This lady," with a heart emoji. She added, "My endless gratitude for everyone who was on set." I'm sure it was terrible. It comes after the Duchess was unveiled as the cover star of the magazine's December 2025 January 2026 edition on Thursday, wearing Dior and seemingly no makeup. Now, I just want to pause here, insiders, and tell you Meghan is copying the Kim Kardashian blueprint for trying to make it in fashion. So, Kim Kardashian has worked with Balenciaga both formally and informally for years. When Kim Kardashian went to Balenciaga initially, years ago, there was lots of press. Kim Kardashian then went wearing what she said was no makeup, but she literally probably had more makeup on than we've ever all put on our faces. It's that no makeup look that is, it's troweled on, but in a very clever way. So she went wearing no makeup. She then did a cover with Vogue magazine, which again was along the lines of all of that barefaced, but again, totally not barefaced. This is what Meghan is trying to copy, but it won't work because Kim Kardashian, whatever your opinion on Kim Kardashian, she has an incredible ability to continually reinvent herself. And there is support for her, and she has had success within the business world. These are all things that Meghan can't say. And so we've got Meghan copying Kim Kardashian, but also when I was doing the research for this episode, I thought I'd remind myself of Netflix and the fact that it hadn't charted in the first half of 2025 in the top 350 on Netflix. Again, none of these questions were asked. Let's go back to this article. And also, insiders, these magazines are not cheap to buy. So, this is a very, very high price you are paying for propaganda. I'd also just like to go back to the image of Meghan on the cover, the bare-faced look. Now, look, you're never going to get me going for someone's face or weight or anything like that. I think it's nasty, regardless of who it is, and we can do better in our analytical dissecting of things. What I will say is this is an incredibly weak cover. The lighting is off, the hair and makeup is truly appalling. And these teams that have put this together, they're experts. And so this made me think, hang on, if this cover image is the very best image they had, something isn't adding up. And so I believe this could have been the image that Meghan demanded that they used, because everything about this as a cover image is completely off. It is not a strong image whatsoever. So this piece continues. Continue. To coincide with the release, Meghan previously shared a black and white video showing her posing for the cameras and looking thoughtfully into the distance, and thanked the extraordinary team behind the shoot for the unforgettable experience. On Friday, she also shared clips of her posing while someone off camera suggested she should be romantic. In response, she placed one hand on the side of her face and gave a slight smile to the camera. And last night, the Duchess teased fans that the photo shoot was not the only project they could expect to see in the coming days and weeks. Oh, good Lord, I can't. I haven't got the strength for more, Meghan. A post by her lifestyle firm, As Ever, in the early hours of Saturday on Instagram said, "It's been a week of many surprises, reveals, and mic drops for our brand and for our founder, Meghan." Hang about. You're having a laugh here. The founder of our brand. You just have strawberry jam that's white labeled and a little bit of rosé. It's not a brand, really, is it? What I would argue a brand is something like Joe Malone or Estee Lauder or Bobby Brown. Those are brands. But a jam brand? No, thank you. This is just absolutely ridiculous. But again, this is written by the team at As Ever, and we know that none of them, and probably have the comments on, Meghan doesn't want to know what her consumers think, but she wants the money. A post by her lifestyle firm, As Ever, in the early hours of Saturday on Instagram said, "It's been a week of many surprises, reveals, and mic drops. So we thought, why stop now? Because the world wants you to stop now, Meghan. We have something else up our sleeve, and it might just be the best one yet." Is it blackberry jam? Oh, come on, give us a clue. The post was accompanied by a picture of a Christmas stocking hanging from a mantelpiece. The As Ever founder spoke in her Harper's Bazaar interview about how she was first drawn to her husband, Prince Harry, 41, for his childlike wonder and playfulness after they met in 2016. The interview took place at the famed Beverly Hills Hotel in LA and saw the Duchess be given an unsolicited cappuccino with a portrait of herself from a trip to South Africa. And then we come on to the most nauseating part. She said of Harry, whom she married in 2018, "He loves me so boldly, fully. And he also has a different perspective because he sees media that I wouldn't." Again, absolute word salad. We have no idea what you mean, Meghan. Back to earth. No one in the world loves me more than him, so I know he's always going to make sure he has my back. She continued. This is what I want to tell you, insiders. This is 100%, in my opinion, this is a dig at the royal family. It is reinforcing he is going to side with me always. I have him under control. And again, I'm always mindful to when things are out in the public eye, you can try and fit a square in a circle and try and make things fit for uh for your story. But with Meghan, this effortlessly fits because it's so obvious. This is a square fitting in a square. This is a dig to the royal family, and as is the very way she again is monetizing and capitalizing on the Duchess title, bringing more shame. And King Charles really, really needs to engage his brain now and stop listening to quite archaic courtiers, I would argue, because they need to adapt with the times. They need to see what has happened with Fergie and what is happening and continues to happen with Meghan. And then we see Beatrice being able to have this half in, half out approach. It does not work. And all of the time, Meghan has this title. It is affording her the luxury of getting on the cover of magazines like Harper's Bazaar Australia. And it has to stop because she does not care about our monarchy. And any content output from Meghan is not real, it's fake news. So you have to avoid this. What I found most shocking is Harper's Bazaar's, sorry, it's a bit of a tongue twister. They're They've put some things out on social media which are absolutely unforgivable. So here we have, hang on, here we have, and this was yesterday, Harper's Bazaar. Princess Diana's revenge dress gets immortalized exactly 30 years after her famous BBC interview. Right, so they are referring to the famous BBC interview that Prince William states basically killed Diana because it was Martin Bashir who forged documents, who behaved in an evil, evil way. It was the BBC that behaved in the most abhorrent way that William recently, as in the last few years, I believe, actually gave a video statement, which I've shown you all before, about the damage this interview had done to Princess Diana's mental health. She became paranoid. She didn't trust her security detail. She really couldn't trust anyone. And so the BBC, on that alone, should be defunded and closed. But Harper's Bazaar, Australia, seems so out of touch that they have referred to this interview as famous BBC interview. Now, in the article, it went on to call it an iconic interview. There is nothing iconic about this interview. This is the weaponization of influence, and it's also so dangerous that now we know what we know about this interview. Prince William and Prince Harry would still have a mother alive today had this interview not happened. And then we see, just if you need more proof that Harper's Bazaar Australia is out of touch. And I'd love to hear, by the way, from Australian insiders. Do you read Harper's Bazaar Australia? And are you also shocked at the way they've behaved? So Harper's Bazaar also put out, just after the Meghan Markle interview, shop Meghan Markle's favourite handbag at 20% off with our exclusive code. And then they've used an image of Catherine, Princess of Wales. And this is absolutely disgusting. Remember, these are for-profit corporations where every tweet, every Instagram, every piece of footage, every bit of wording, this is all approved. When you, and many of you may have worked or work at large corporations, you will know the red tape you have to go through. It was part of the reason I never worked in them. Well, I did briefly, but I never worked out in them because I didn't have the patience for the red tape, for the smallest, piece of action I wanted to take. It was very corporate. And that is exactly what these outlets are like. And so we've got them referring to referring to Meghan Markle's favourite items using Catherine, Princess of Wales's image, which is awful. And then we have them referring to Princess Diana's famous BBC interview, but then within the copy, they talk about it being iconic. This is not journalism. This is propaganda, and this is why you will never get the truth from the mainstream media because they don't care what you think and what I think. No, they want our money, but they don't want to give us the truth. So, insiders, there is a lot of exclusives I am bringing to the channel this week. We have Andy Webb, the author of Dianorama, the book. I have Nikki Johnston, the photographer, who is going to tell you exactly how much approval he believes Meghan Markle had and why she is chasing and capitalizing on Princess Diana's image. Plus, we have a series starting on the Epstein emails and Freemasons coming soon. So there is so much to keep you all busy. And please comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks, guys.